Forget the pearly gates and soft white clouds. The reality of the afterlife is a heavy, silent vacuum. In this silver expanse, gravity doesn't exist. There is no air to breathe, and time itself simply stops moving forward. Without time, biology stalls. A creature adrift here will never age a single day. They will never feel hunger, and they will never naturally progress or grow. Because nothing decays, the Astral Sea acts as a massive, incorruptible preservation chamber. Anything cast into this emptiness remains exactly as it was indefinitely. When a deity loses its last worshipper on the mortal worlds, it dies. But the physical form doesn't vanish. The colossal remains are discarded directly into this silver sea. Adrift in the timeless vacuum, the flesh petrifies. These massive corpses calcify into floating islands of solid bone and marrow. A scale comparison, a tiny humanoid next to a petrified six-armed deity. In infinite space, these god isles are the only mineable real estate. Look closer at the porous calcium, and you'll find an alien infection. Jagged, rusted iron bolted directly into the divine bone. Out here, a dead god is not a holy relic to be worshipped. It is a massive biological resource, occupied and mined by apex survivors. The architects of these iron structures are the Githyanki. They are a highly efficient, militaristic race that has figured out how to colonize the void. Their capital is Narath. It is an entire metropolis constructed directly onto the corpse of the deity they call the One in the Void. This wireframe diagram illustrates how the city's architecture exploits the plane's subjective gravity. The Githyanki build outward, expanding Narath on the top, bottom, and sides of all 6 limbs simultaneously. But the frozen time that preserves their city creates a demographic trap. Within the city limits, crops cannot grow, and children cannot age or mature. Trapped in a habitat devoid of natural resources or biological cycles, the Githyanki sustain their civilization through perpetual, violent dimensional raiding. When mortals travel to this plane using magic, they usually project a spirit form. That spirit remains tethered to their sleeping physical body back home by a glowing silver cord. Deep within the industrial core of Narath, massive forge fires burn constantly. These smiths are dedicated exclusively to producing specialized, predatory weaponry. The most famous product of these forges is the Githyanki silver sword. It is an anatomical tool engineered for one specific function, cutting a traveler's silver cord. If that tether is severed, the traveler's physical body dies immediately on their homeworld. The Githyanki don't passively endure the vacuum. They weaponize its specific magical physics to assert themselves as the apex predators of all dimensions. The orders for these raids come from the political epicenter of Narath, the heavily fortified Castle Susurrus. Stripped of her magical illusions, the ruler sitting on the throne of bone is Vlaakith the 157th, a 1,000-year-old mummified Lich-Queen. Despite commanding a timeless empire, Vlaakith faces her own existential trap. Her undead form and her ambition to achieve true godhood require a continuous, massive influx of soul energy to maintain. She secures this energy by instituting a strict religious mandate. Once her most elite warriors reach a certain level of power, they are summoned to her throne room to be honored. This flowchart tracks that life cycle. A warrior ascends the military ranks, only to end up funneled directly into the queen. Vlaakith consumes their souls, absorbing their strength to fuel her ascension while ensuring no rival general ever grows powerful enough to challenge her rule. The Githyanki spread outward as a terrifying swarm upon the multiverse, completely unaware that they are actually the host organism for their own queen. The civilization of Narath is frozen in time. They sustain themselves through extreme violence, all while being ruled by a cannibalistic corpse. When their military apparatus mobilizes, massive fleets of jagged, iron-clad ships break away from the 6-armed god isle, drifting outward into the silver fog. Their objective is to breach the dimensional barriers into the prime material plane, descending upon living, breathing worlds to take whatever they need. For the inhabitants of Narath, the thriving civilizations of the multiverse are nothing more than the next carcass waiting to be stripped of its resources. The Astral Plane serves as a graveyard for the forgotten divine, but it also functions as the launching pad for an endless cycle of scavenging that threatens every living world.